The Daily Raz Show with Jack Wilson.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Raz Show. I'm Jack Wilson. And I'm going to do a little bit of a departure on podcasts that I've done. And I need to do more, I know that. But I wanted to do something on why do some people, I'm actually working from notes. I'm not doing a teleprompter or anything today. I sat down over the weekend and I made a list of many pages on why do some people still support Trump. I don't know. But I wanted to take everyone back to talk about, this guy, and why does he still have so much support? And I had to go back in history to think about what this guy has done. And I don't understand still why the Republicans support him, but that's neither here nor there. So to be clear, in my mind, let's just do a quick review of some of his misdeeds, or what I just call total fuck-ups by this callous thug. None of these are in a particular order, but some of these are in the most popular that we have probably forgotten about over time. And I want everyone to kind of remember who and what Donald Trump is and what he has done over time. I mean, this guy just won't go away, so we tend to get used to his history. It's kind of like getting used to jaywalkers on the same corner every day. They will never change, and you can't run over them. So you kind of live with them. But, getting started, this mutt has had six. So I'm going to do this in a kind of a chronological order and try to go from my memory and things that I've observed and found out. And I'm going to kind of do this in a talking format, so I hope I don't bore anybody, but I want everyone to remember. Donald Trump has had 6 bankruptcies. And I'm going to tell you just briefly, in 91, it was the Trump Taj Mahal. In 92, he had the Trump Castle and Casino and also Trump Plaza. These were in Atlantic City, I believe. And then in 92, he had the Trump Plaza Operating Partners. Now in 2004, he had Trump Casino Holdings. These were all different entities. And then in 2009, he had Trump Entertainment Resorts. These were all entities that he had. And you're going to be surprised when you find out some of these things. The result of these bankruptcies were that the investors, the bondholders, banks, and the contractors, these were the vendors that built these businesses. And they had to probably in turn borrow money to build these businesses that he had, these 6 that I'm talking about. When he went bankrupt, they lost billions in Trump's bankruptcies. Now, some of them were large, banks, whatever, but there were a lot of contractors. Everyone forgets about the contractors that that were involved in building these. They had, some of them were small, some were large. There were a lot of small contractors. They lost everything. But I think what might be surprising to people is that Trump profited millions from these failures, from salaries, bonuses, and fees extracted from the failing companies. He basically lived on licensing. His personal wealth was never touched. It was estimated, there's all kinds of estimates, but he was estimated he made between 40, and that's a big variance, but between $40 and $1 million from those bankruptcies through his compensation and salaries. So, he was essentially just a grifter living off the bones of his victims. So, moving on, more recently, investors have lost billions in ventures tied to Trump. More than $4 billion was lost by retail investors to the Trump coin, as the early insiders dumped the coins and early traders, they cashed out. Again, Trump advantaged the suckers who paid for their loyalty with real dollars, and he pocketed the money. Again, he does not touch the actual product. He takes this money from fees and licensing fees, and he gets other compensation up front. Trump's kind of moving on again in another area. Trump's constant lawsuits against any of his foes is a legal strategy. He uses it to intimidate and obstruct. Because also, in defending against his lawsuits is incredibly expensive, and he does not pay his own legal fees. These fees, these legal fees that, he's always suing somebody, but these legal fees are usually paid for by his PACs and supporters. Why, I don't know. But he does still have money, from people that give it to him through PACs and other organizations to support him. He doesn't pay anything in legal fees. So, basically this is why we're always hearing about Trump suing this person or this group. And basically what it does when he's doing these lawsuits is it changes the narrative, and he creates an obstruction, creates delays, and he can drag on for years. And what it does is it ends up costing the other parties insane sums and amounts of money, to the point it's cheaper for them to settle, just to get out of it, because it's never ending with him. This is one of his business strategies, and this in turn emboldens Trump to continue this strategy, again and again. He just goes on and on with this strategy. He's used it from the beginning, from the beginning. You always wonder why he's suing someone. Well, because it doesn't cost him anything, and he can tie things up and keep everybody busy while he moves on to another project. So the word here is if you invest anything with Trump, be prepared to lose it. The only people that are going to make any money with Trump are on the inside. These are people that are inside and close to him, and they know what he's doing. So, kind of moving on, and chronologically. Now, some of this stuff may be out of order. I don't know. And I wanted to do this because I think everyone has forgotten what a grifter he really is. He's a professional grifter. This is a business strategy of his. So remember Trump University in 2018. How soon we forget, right? 2018. He settled in a lawsuit with the students. I can't remember. I think there were like 20,000 of them. But they only recovered 90% of their money. I think there was a $25 million lawsuit, and they recovered 90% of the money. However, many of them had thousands of dollars in debt on credit cards. They didn't get any of that back. So again, they lost money, but he didn't lose a penny because he had nothing vested. And, moving on again, I have more. Do you remember the civil financial fraud trial of 2023? He was found to have committed fraud in his scheme to inflate his holdings and assets to secure favorable loans and insurance. Of course, being Trump, all of these decisions are still in litigation. They're in appeals. None of that has been decided, and who knows how many years that's going to go on. It could go on for decades, all the way up to and including the Supreme Court. Then there was the Election Defense Fund PAC. He raised hundreds of millions in solicited donations for the official Election Defense Fund. Instead, much of the money was pumped to other Trump organizations. I don't think anybody can keep track of where his money goes from one place to the other. But that's the known that this money kind of went around to other Trump organizations to pay for whatever. He's always busy moving money around, or I should say his people are. And then there were the branded products ventures. These were the products that Trump licensed his name to. These included Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump Mortgage, and the travel site GoTrump.com. I don't even remember that one. But of course, as always, Trump came out making millions because these companies and products were licensing agreements, and Trump was paid for these up front. He gets his money up front. He has no risk. The losses were suffered by those who were paying for the licensing and inventory losses. I mean, think about it. If you were buying Trump Steaks and you were going to sell them under Trump's name and Trump Vodka, and you had to buy these products, but if nobody bought them, what are you going to do with them? Well, you're going to eat it or drink it. But anyway, they were inventory losses. These were all losses. And again, these were because he did not have any skin in the game. He gets his money up front from licensing, commissions, whatever. And then, I mean, it goes on and on. You know, before that was the multi-level marketing dodge that Trump ran up called the network. It was basically a pyramid scheme for health and wellness supplements. I mean, those were big at one time, and probably still are in some places. But individual losses approached for these people that individual losses were in the neighborhood of $10,000 each. There were approximately somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 individuals in the beginning. Now, these are people that buy these health supplements and they try to move them on and develop, part of their network and so. But you do the math: 20,000 individuals with $10,000 each as an individual loss. Do the math. These people lost their money. This was another Trump enterprise that he licensed his name to. He was paid. He didn't lose a damn dime on this. So, I mean, Trump never has any skin in the game. So you get the idea now on how he has run his businesses. Then kind of moving on, there's the Trump crypto scheme. He has made close to $1 billion, in cash wealth, and approaching $5 billion in paper wealth from his crypto ventures. I'm not an expert on crypto. I don't know a lot about it. I know that generally speaking, unless that is your game, unless you know, you're going to lose money. And these people did. They lost billions. Not Trump. So more recently, though, it's no secret that there's been massive volumes of stock trades linked to Trump. Is this insider trading? Of course it is. By any definition, it's profiteering. And I think this is a large part of the problem with the Republican Party is that why are they so quiet? Why do they just hang on to this guy's coattails? Is because they're following his lead on what he does, and buying and selling short. Is it happening? Hell yes, it's happening. It's happening. Capitol Hill is full of these traders that are making fortunes on what Trump is doing politically. That's a whole other show. But so many people have been talking about that. I'm surprised no one is listening. What really is shocking to me, kind of stopping my points here for a moment, is why the Democrats are not screaming at the top of their lungs. I don't know who's afraid of what, but this is the most corruption that I don't think anybody's ever, I don't think anyone can come up with where there's been this much corruption in government. And it's so out in broad daylight. But moving on. Then we have the pardon of the insurrectionists. Again, people know I'm just bringing all of these things to light for everyone to remember what this guy is about, what he's really about. So then again, we have the pardon of the insurrectionists. More than 1,500 people who violently, we can all remember what it looked like. They stormed the Capitol, they caused death and destruction, and were given a pass and okay by Trump. I think he's like over 2,000 pardons right now. That's a world record. But add to that the other felons he pardoned that are, a lot of them are just too obscene to even mention here, including drug lords, financial scammers. If you have an interest in this, go look it up. It's all right out there in public view. You can go find out. So moving on to another one. Let's not forget the sex lawsuits he lost. The plaintiffs won. They won by the evidence presented, but they're on appeal, and it will be years for any kind of resolution to that. And so what is that? That's Trump's strategy. He has followed this business strategy from day one. Who taught it to him? I don't know, probably his daddy. I don't know, but somebody did. But that's been his business strategy from day one, all the way back to when he was doing construction in contracting. He never had skin in the game. And of course, again, Trump doesn't pay for any of this. He has many organizations that pick up the tab. And again, believe it or not, people are constantly donating money to him. Not just the little guy. Wealthy people. And why? Why do they do that? Well, there has to be some quid pro quo going on there. I think. I'm sure of it. So again, moving on, I didn't forget the 34 felonies. 34 felonies. This is our president. He's been convicted of. Convicted. So these all stemmed from falsifying business records. Now, look, you can agree or disagree on what these look, they were crooked, and juries convicted this guy. They listened to evidence, and they convicted him of falsifying business records. Not once, not twice, many times. Enough that they got 34 felony convictions. So I think we can see a pattern of the abuses just in the business records. So why am why I could go on and on and on, but why? I'm doing this to make you go look at the scams he and his family have run. Basically, Trump's business strategy is to use other people's money, and if the venture fails, they incurred the losses. He keeps assets to a minimum, and I don't know all of the details of it, but it's common knowledge. He doesn't have that many assets, certainly more than I do. But he keeps his assets to a minimum by selling his name and image to others who want to risk their money. He's the P.T. Barnum of this generation. And by the way, P.T. Barnum is not the one that said there's a sucker born every minute. It was somebody else. I don't know that guy's name. P.T. Barnum didn't say it, but, he was that kind of a guy, so they probably attached that to his name. Basically, Trump is always, trying a new scam or gimmick to test the waters for absurdity. Gosh, the most recent one is the $1.8 billion payout that he was giving to people that were abused by the Biden administration. But even that was too much for his Republican sidekicks, and they were like, "No, you're really going over the cliff with this one." So, look, Trump has surpassed even the most ridiculous expectations from any sensible person. But and that's kind of the reason I'm doing this, I will always wonder why 35 to 40% of the public still support this man. And more than that, I wonder why the Republican leaders are so afraid of him. Something is very wrong. So I've said it in previous podcasts and writings. Trump supporters, in my mind, have some real issues. I mean, in their deepest places, in their heart. I just have to believe, when you go back to when he wouldn't denounce the white supremacists, that was kind of the catalyst, I think, that pushed some of these things forward. But in me, I would like somebody to explain to me, either Trump supporters are either racists, bigots, anti-Semitic, or they have a reason to look for someone to blame for something. Something's going on in their head and heart. Maybe they are very wealthy and think Trump is helping them keep or grow their wealth. Or because he wears a baseball cap, he's in their clan. I don't know. Would Trump ever wear a baseball cap before he was president? I don't think so. Golf hat, maybe. So for those people that have supported this guy and helped him get elected, look, your selfish actions helped set this country back 50 years. You gave this putz positive affirmation that the shit he said and did was and is okay. When he went in and began dismantling programs that affected so many people and then just stopped midstream, that really told the truth about his understanding about what a government is, for, and what it does. He and his people, they had no idea, and they still don't. They don't understand what it's all about in government. But it's also an indication of, and it's indicative of what Trump really is. He never has finished anything. All the way back, he's never finished a business profitably. He's never actually been involved in a business profitably. The only money he's ever made has been at the people that have invested in him and their losses. He's been basically feeding at their bones. So what I've been saying is Donald Trump's never been successful in anything. He's a failure at everything he's ever touched, even in government. Even in government. I mean, his business model is to live off the carcass of something or someone who has lost all of their money. So money has a life. It breathes, if you will. If someone has money and loses it, it didn't go into the sewer, didn't go kicked to the curb. Someone else has it. Money is real. Donald Trump did not care if any of his ventures failed because he always got his cut up front. Ergo, he has no experience in creating a government that is better. He has never created anything that is better. I had a lot of notes here to cover with you folks. But that's okay. We're just talking. I'm going to probably continue doing more podcasts on things like this. I've been extremely busy, and now I'm going to probably get back into doing more shows like this where I can get off the teleprompter and stop doing those. I'd rather just converse and talk with you folks. So, basically, look, Donald Trump is going to be gone in a couple of years. But the real problems are going to be lying around after that. They're going to be around a long time. The Republican Party he created will still be around, thinking the dumb shit he did was normal. So, look, that's why it's so important to vote these people out and get some fresh faces with normal brains in government. And that doesn't mean a Democrat. I've always said we need a two-party system. We need Republicans and Democrats. But my God, I would love to have Ronald Reagan back. My brother and I were talking. It's like, where's there a Reagan? Where's there a Bush? Where's there a normal person? Their policies may be different, but they're not wild-eyed and crazy. They understand diplomacy. They understand we live in a world that looked up to us for things that were happening in the future. But not so much anymore. So I say again, that's why getting out and voting. Look, when Donald Trump is gone, there's still going to be the aftermath of what he has left behind, of these people that he fed this pablum to. And I don't know if they're going to continue believing those things. I don't know. That's pretty fucked up. I hope they don't. But we need to turn over this government and elect people that have some sensibilities. I mean, my question is, does anybody go to college anymore and take political science? They teach this shit in college. Political science is not just a name. It covers a lot of things, including diplomacy and how to negotiate and what is going on in the world and how to navigate those issues that are going on in the world. Are we just going to continue allowing inexperienced moms and dads run our government? I mean, people that have been plumbers and farmers, and nothing against that. But look, government is not being a fucking plumber. And just because you can run your business is not government. Government is a whole different entity that is taking care of millions of people's issues and needs. So anyway, look, it's going to take years for other countries to trust us again And it's going to take years to undo the shit that this man has done to foreign policy. He has totally fucked up foreign policy issues. He has no clue on what is going on for foreign policy. And, our adversaries, if you want to call them that, are sitting back and they don't have to do anything. We're doing it to ourselves, and I say we because it's he, this fucking mutt, is doing it. So I'm going to talk more about this as we go on, but we're literally watching history in the making. This is the actual creation of the most corrupt government in our country's history. There's nothing beats this. And, we just sit and wait in anticipation of what this guy's going to do next. And the people that he's got, his cabal that he's got with him, we're just sitting there waiting for it to happen. What's going to be the next thing. So I hope everyone got a little bit out of this. Again, it was meant to go through and just remind you of what this guy is. He's not even a good businessman. He doesn't know what the fuck he is doing. He is following a strategy he's used all of his life, which is bury that guy, bury that guy, bury that guy, and he gets his money up front. He's got his cash. He's made millions on that while he kicks all of these other people to the curb. And he tried to bring that philosophy in the government. And I remind you, he went in and totally upset our government programs, fucked them up, and walked away. That's his strategy. That's what he's always done. But he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't know another way to do it. And he's got people with him that really believe that. And he's going to leave a lot to fix. So I'm going to get off here. I thank you for joining me. I hope you got something out of it. I literally, I could have gone on and on, pages and pages, and I'm going to continue it on because I actually learned something from this when I began doing some research on it. And this is not the Donald Trump that was on Larry fucking King, okay? This is not the guy. That guy was full of shit, and he still is. So please follow me. I'm going to be doing some more on this, and including some of the people that hang on to his coattails. But let's vote, get involved locally, and I'm going to actually do a couple podcasts on our local people, and one of them, I'll bring up a couple of them. They want my vote. Now, these are Democrats. Guess what? Fuck you. I don't even see you on the news. I don't even know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not going to bring their names up right now, but unless I'm seeing you on Capitol Hill on the news hollering and screaming about this piece of shit, then you're not getting my vote. It's just that simple. And I want to know where the candidates are that care. The Democratic Party has got to find some people that are willing to fight, and bring us back from the cliff, if we're not already over the cliff. So, okay, I'm going to cut this off. Thanks for listening. My name's Jack Wilson. This is a Daily Raz show. Follow me on dailyraz.com. I do write the blog on dailyraz.com. And you can follow the Daily Raz show on YouTube. And thanks for listening.